Going on, guys? I wanted to make a quick video for you on AMD stock, right? So I'm smiling right now because the stock is up, and if you guys remember from my few previous videos I had made, I told you guys to watch this level, right? The $100 level was a big psychological level for this stock, right? And so I myself loaded the boat here, right? And I bought some call options. And then I also bought some shares, which I added to my position. I had already bought shares of AMD back in when it was like around $90, right? So let me see. I bought some shares. I want to say maybe, yeah, I think I had bought some shares back like in July or something like that. So it might have been like June or July. And I had bought some shares. So I bought some more right around the $100 mark, so I averaged up a little bit, but I'm okay with that because, you know, AMD to me is one of those growth stocks that is just gonna keep on pumping, right? So whether the market, you know, interest rates, inflation, all that, hits the market, I think eventually once, you know, everything kind of corrects and everything kind of starts moving back to the upside and we start seeing gains again, AMD is just going to be one of those that's going to continue with the gains, right? So today the stock is up 3.6%, and it is up $4.56. The stock stopped trading at $128.23, right? So for me, that's pretty good since I bought back in right around the $100 mark. So I'm pretty happy. My calls are up. I will probably be exiting my position on some of those calls soon, just in case the stock wants to reverse. But as of now, I would be watching these levels here, guys. So you know, just keep a close eye on this $129 level of resistance, right, guys? So if the stock can come up to that level, probably tomorrow or the next couple of days, I would be looking for the stock to come back up and test this $137 area of resistance, right? And so hopefully we can get above that and then make another move to the upside, right? With that being said, guys, I want to go over an article with you guys real quick about AMD. I thought it was pretty interesting, so let's just get right into that real quick. And so this one is by the Motley Fool, right? I don't really much like Motley Fool, but you know, I like to read up on everything that everybody's putting out. And so it says AMD stock is a screaming buy as it could hit $200 in 2022. Now, just that title alone is very bullish, right? So it says key points. AMD crushed expectations in the fourth quarter of 2021 and delivered robust guidance for 2022. AMD could exceed expectations thanks to new product launches and more market share gains. AMD stock is relatively cheap right now, making it an ideal bet for growth investors. So yeah, man, I like all of this, right? So it's crushing expectations in the fourth quarter of 2021. So it did that, right? And it delivered a robust guidance for 2022. So they are being aggressive for 2022. How are they being aggressive for 2022? Well, because it says here they can exceed expectations, right? But this is how they're being aggressive and they can exceed those expectations is because they're launching new products, right? And they're trying to get more market share, right, from other competitors, probably like Nvidia and whatnot. And so it says AMD stock is relatively cheap right now. So yeah, you as an investor, I as an investor, right, of course it's not financial advice, but you know, you want to take a look at the chart, right? And so AMD, as soon as they hit that $100 area, right, you know, that was a big psychological level for a lot of investors, right? And if you just zoom out and look at the chart, you would know that, you know, this is a very key important area for you to actually buy in or make a move, right? Buy some calls or whatnot, whatever your trading style may be, right? If you're long, you get open a long position. You know, if you swing traded, you probably, you know, enter a position for a few days, a week, whatever. Or if you're just day trading it, right, then you can keep an eye on that price action on the hourly. But it says advanced micro devices had a forgetful start to the year as shares of the chipmaker plunged close to 21% last month. It's kind of hard to believe that it took that much of a plunge, right? But the whole stock market as a whole just took a big plunge. If you look at, the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, all that, they all took a pretty major dive. So it says, but it has taken long for the company to regain its mojo on the stock market. Hasn't taken long, excuse me. AMD stock has recovered a lot of ground over the past few days, aided by a solid fourth quarter earnings report that handsomely crushed expectations. Yes, so their fourth quarter earnings were really good, right? And they crushed expectations. Let's see. So they just put out a chart showing you the price change, and so it's just letting you know that from January to January 31st, the stock changed and went down 14.1%. But it wasn't. Let's continue reading this. It wasn't surprising to see AMD cruise past Wall Street's expectations as it was riding on some impressive tailwinds. Going into its quarterly report, what's more, the company's 2022 guidance indicates that it's on track to deliver another year of solid growth, which has prompted Wall Street analysts to raise their expectations of AMD's stock. So yeah, I mean, you get all this, you get these good quarterly earnings reports, and then of course the analysts are going to react and they're going to raise their expectations for the stock, right? And so it says, for instance, Hans Mosman of Rosenblatt Securities has risen his price target on AMD stock to 200 from 180. Very doable, in my opinion, right? And so that's good to see, right? Because these guys, they do influence the price of a stock, right? People look to them to see what they're thinking about a stock. So for them to increase their price target for a stock is very good on a stock. It creates buying pressure, right? And that in turn becomes a movement to the upside for the stock. So it says this points towards a 60% potential upside in AMD stock from its closing price on February 4th. Let's look at the reasons why AMD looks capable of clocking such terrific gains in 2022. So those are some of the gains that I'm looking to lock in, right? And I already did with some of the calls. But some of the shares that I'm holding. So it says AMD's guidance points towards a strong year. And when I say some of the shares I'm holding, I'm just talking about my short-term portfolio, because my long-term portfolio, that's for me is more of a untouchable type of thing, right? I'm holding that for the long run, 10, 20 years, whatever, So let's take a look here. AMD guidance points towards a strong year. AMD finished 2021 with $16.4 billion in revenue. That's really great. An increase of 68%, right? That's a whopping 68% compared to 2020. The chip maker recorded an increase of 3.7 percentage points in gross margin to 48% on the back of favorable product mix. As a result, AMD clocked adjusted earnings of 2.79 cents per share in 2021, a big increase over the prior year's figure of 1.29 per share. AMD's guidance indicates it could sustain its terrific performance in 2022. The company expects revenue to increase 45% year over year in the first quarter to $5 billion, driven by strong growth across all its businesses. AMD's full-year guidance calls for revenue growth of 31% in 2022. So 31% is a lot, right? While non-generally accepted accounting principles, GAAP gross margin is expected to increase 51%. So those are big numbers, right, guys? However, don't be surprised to see AMD exceed its expectations just like it did last year. It's worth noting that the company was anticipating its 2021 revenue to jump 37% in January 2021. But it blew past those expectations, right? So, I mean, what's not to like about this stock, right? It's blowing back past expectations, guys. A similar trend could unfold in 2022. Let's hope that it does, right, for us as investors. Let's see why that may be the case. So it says, meet the growth drivers. AMD's outstanding growth in 2021 was driven by market share gains in the client and server computing markets, the increase in sales of its semi-custom chips used in video gaming consoles, and its growing clout in the data center graphics processing unit GPU market. So I went to school for all of that, right? For instance, in the computer, I ended up doing something else, but I did go to school for all the GPUs and all that stuff, software engineer. All right, guys, but for instance, in the computing and graphics segment, AMD's quarterly revenue increased 32% year over year to $2.6 billion on the back of solid demand for Ryzen processors and Radeon GPUs. AMD CEO Lisa Su pointed out on the Q4 2021 earnings conference call that the company has gained client processor revenue share for 7 straight quarters, right? So they are just gaining. As Sue's comments on the conference call indicate, the chipmaker is in no mood to lose that momentum, referring to AMD's latest Ryzen 6000 series notebook processors. Sue said that they would power more than 200 laptop models this year. That's good. Their chips are going into a lot of different laptop models, right? So that is very good, guys. Let's see. That's a nice jump over the last year when AMD's Ryzen 5000 notebook processors were estimated. Where'd you go? Sorry about that, guys. To power 150 laptop designs. Additionally, AMD is about to refresh its desktop CPU lineup with the Ryzen 7000 series processors that are expected to hit the market in the second half of 2022. So another possible catalyst for the stock to, take a nice little rise, right? So Sue claims that these new processors are likely to provide a significant performance increase over the current generation of processors. Coming to graphics cards, AMD's data center GPU revenue more than doubled year over year thanks to design wins for high-performance computing customers. Management says more supercomputers are using its data center GPUs, while OEMs, original equipment manufacturers such as Altos, Dell, HP, Lenovo, and Supermicro, are launching more products based on their offerings. So it says, with demand for the data center GPUs expected to increase at a compound annual growth rate of 42% through 2027, as per a third-party estimate, AMD investors can expect this business to get stronger, right? So even more reasons to just continue investing in AMD, right? For me, it's just more of a reason to buy the dip, right? Meanwhile, AMD will also update its server processor lineup this year. The company already has started sampling its next generation EPYC processors with customers and expects to launch them later this year. An updated product line means AMD could gain more market share against Intel in 2022. Bank of America estimates that AMD's share of the 70 billion CPU market is still at 15%, leaving a lot of room for the chipmaker to grow its revenue. So they're estimating that AMD only has about 15% share, right? So yeah, they definitely can still, they have a lot of room to grow. And so if they continue doing what they're doing by offering these new products and being this aggressive, and then, look for them to start taking more and more share as their products become more popular, right? In the server market, specifically, the investment bank sees AMD's share jumping to more than 35% in the long run compared to this year's estimate of 13%. Yeah, so I could definitely see 30, 35, 40%. So throw in the strong demand for gaming consoles from Microsoft and Sony that are powered by AMD semi-custom chips. It is easy to see why the chipmaker's enterprise embedded and semi-custom segment is set up for another solid year in Q4. The segment's revenue was up 75% year over year, $2.2 billion, and the investors can expect AMD to sustain this terrific momentum due to the reasons discussed above. So, they are providing the chips for, the Xboxes and the PlayStations, and you guys know all that stuff is in high demand right now. You can't even buy the PlayStation. It's just crazy, right? So there is definitely a big demand for them. They are winning in that category. So why the stock is still worth buying? AMD is trading at 46 times trailing earnings following its recent rally. This is a rich multiple considering the S&P 500 sports and earnings multiple of 26. However, AMD's forward earnings multiple of 29 points towards significant bottom line growth this year It is also worth noting that AMD's multiples are lower than its 5-year trailing earnings multiple of 110 and forward earnings multiple of 60, indicating that the stock is relatively cheaper on a historical basis. All this makes AMD a top growth stock to buy because it can deliver significant upside this year and in the long run, considering its earnings are expected to grow at an annual pace of 34% for the next 5 years. So this is exactly what I'm trying to tell you guys, right? So I'm looking to capitalize on both, right? So I'm looking to capitalize in the short term and I'm looking to capitalize in the long term, right? And so that's what, like I told you guys, I have a short term portfolio and I have a long term portfolio. And then it says, should you invest $1,000 in Advanced Micro Devices Incorporated right now? Not financial advice, but I definitely did invest way more than that. And so, yeah, guys, just, this article is just kind of cementing to me why AMD is a winner in my book, and I can definitely see this one hitting 200 in 2022 easily, right? But yeah, sorry, this one was a little bit longer than expected, but I did just want to go over this article with you guys, and I wanted to go over what I'm seeing in the price action for today. That being said, I want to thank you guys for liking and subscribing to my videos, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.